It is a beautiful day. It's a little nippy. I think we got a little excited when we felt the warm weather, but it's still a really nice day. And I know you all know that there's a lot going on in the world. It's just a bunch of craziness. It just makes you say, really? These are the leaders? These are the people that are running our governments and our countries? It just leaves you pretty speechless, to be honest. And some of these things are actually going backwards. You see a lot of things trying to be undone and overturned, unfortunately. But all of that to say, some things have to be stripped from us to understand and to realize what it is we actually have. And to bring us back to the realization that we're not as in control as we think we are. We're not as free as we think we are. And that is the topic of this live today. The United States itself has built a reputation and built its foundation on being the land of the free, um, economic freedom, capitalism, religious freedoms. It has tried to form some sort of a democracy where the people are choosing, and sometimes that's not even the case. We're not under a king or a monarchy per se, but as we can see with some of the things that are going on, there are some people that believe we should be, or they are functioning as if we were. But I want to say to the topic of we're not as free as we think we are. If you all remember just a few short years ago when we had the whole um, pandemic, epidemic, or whatever it would have been, um, I remember to get back and forth to work, we were given these notes or like these. I felt like it was a badge or a sign or a symbol that we had to have on us at all times to be able to travel back and forth. And being a healthcare worker, we were one of the groups of people that had the freedom to travel back and forth or to not be under the curfew. And unfortunately, we have a very short attention span, and I think the attention span for most people, the statistic is like 8 seconds. But we have to remember that just about 3 years ago, there was a curfew. All right. As an adult, as a free adult, there was a curfew put on us. You had to be in the house at a certain time. You were not free to roam about like you wanted to. All right. Another example of the fact that we are not as free as we think we are, and this affects a certain group of people more than it affects others, is the 13th Amendment. A lot of people say, oh, slavery is dead. What are you talking about? Nobody's a slave. That is so untrue. It's untrue in a lot of the other parts of the world, and it's untrue in America. The 13th Amendment clearly states that if you are convicted of a crime, you can be a slave. And there are actually literally slaves to this day. If you go and you look at the conditions of some of these prisons, you look at Angola, you see how they're functioning. It looks like some of the pictures from Angola look like you are in 1840. All right, you have these men on horses, these people on chain gangs, and all this type of stuff. I mean, it's like, all right, but people think, hey, it's the land of the free, nobody's a slave. But I beg to differ. Hi guys, thank you so much for joining in on the live. I appreciate it. Ramesh and Saw Kla Toon, thank you so much. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, but if I'm not, please forgive me. Another example of the fact that we are not as free as we think we are is you can be forced to take, all right, not just for yourself, but you can be forced to even your children to roam about, to fly, to travel, to go to school, all of those things. They can be mandated that you have to put certain things inside of your body. So how is that freedom? Another thing is, if you want to be exempt from putting certain things in your body, you have to get permission for that. All right. They have the authority to tell you what you can and cannot do with your body. And if you want to not do certain things with your body, you have to get permission. So think about that. Believe it or not, I'm in the US, so I'm speaking for the US. The government can declare an emergency, and under that, they can shut down whatever they want to shut down. They can imprison you. They can take away and strip you of whatever they want to strip you of. All right. A couple other things when it comes to the fact that freedom is not free is you have to fight. Certain people have to fight for their God-given rights. You have to fight just to be able to do certain things. It's a fight. Like, it should not be a fight to get an education. It should not be a fight to get clean water, to be able to grow your food. And believe it or not, in some situations, you have to fight to be able to grow your own food. You have to get permission to grow your own food. Even that is being governed. All right. And another thing is, in America, we have this thing that says, oh, well, we have the freedom of speech. Yes, we have the freedom of speech. You do, but you're not free from the consequences. You can say whatever you want to say, but if you say the wrong thing, it's probably going to come back to bite you. You could lose your job, and it's going to affect your life. So is that truly freedom? You can't really say what it is you want to say, to be honest. A couple other small things, the fact that freedom is not free. I'm speaking from personal experience. I have been a homeschool mom, and I'm probably going to homeschool my little boy now. He's only 1 year old, but when he does become school age, I'm probably going to homeschool him as well. I homeschooled my 21-year-old. I pulled him out in the 9th grade, and so I homeschooled him for about 3.5 years. To educate your own children, you have to get permission to do that. You have to register to do that. They need to know where those kids are. They have to be accounted for. They need to know that they're being, educated or whatnot. And you just have to have a record of that. And again, even though you own your home, or we think we own our homes, you have to have certain permissions to do certain things with even your home. So with all of that being said, hi Vitka, how are you today? Are we really as free as we think we are? And the answer is no, we're not. Now, I'm not going to take away anything from the United States. There are freedoms here that we have that other people in different parts of the world do not have. I know that. I acknowledge that. There are certain freedoms here that women have that in other parts of the world they don't have. In other communities and groups of people, there are certain freedoms that they have here that they would not and do not have in other parts of the world. Yes, I give them that. But at the same time, we are still not as free as we think we are. You can't live where you want to live. You can't say anything you want to say. You can't do anything you want to do. There are going to be consequences. You can't live the way that you want to live, even if you want to live off grid. If you want to live off grid with your own power source, your own energy source, your own source of water, your own source of food, and growing your own food, there's probably going to be some type of interference from some entity, agency, that is going to affect you doing that. And that's all I wanted to say. I want you all to not take the freedoms that you do have for granted. Don't take it for granted. However, still continue to maintain your God-given rights, your freedoms, your individuality. All right, so that's all I wanted to say. That's my spiel today. If no one has any questions, comments, or concerns, that is it for today, and I hope you all be blessed.